Yo, what's going on? Daniel from these seven C's. Oh man, in the past few weeks, I've just been very grateful to have opportunities to bring really cool knives, in front of my camera. But anyways, with that being said, I am so excited to get this knife in front of you guys. If you guys don't know, I think probably most of you guys know, but this is the Skiff Knives Drifter. Now, I did make a vid. I did actually used to have another Skiff, about a month ago. That was a Skiff Culprit. And it's a little bit different than this guy. That one's more like a drop point blade shape, and the handle shape is a little different. But I ended up selling it because I was just like, man, that knife is way too nice for me to carry and use. And so to me, like, I love to carry and use my knives, man. To me, it's like if a knife is not used for what it's intended for, then I feel kind of sad, to be honest. As a knife enthusiast, my heart goes out to all those knives out there that are sitting in the dark somewhere in a safe or in a drawer and just gonna be chilling out there for like years and years, you know what I mean? With that being said, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna ever get a Skiff knife again because all their knives are so nice, so dope. Like, it's just a beautiful machined work of art that also can be used as a tool. But as soon as I sold the Culprit, I was like, dang it, oh man, I want to actually get another Skiff into my collection because that knife was so good. And thankfully I saw this for sale, and I actually like this blade shape more than the drop point blade shape of the Culprit. I am a big fan of like the Warncliffe, like sheep's foot style blade shape for the stuff that I do. The majority of the time I'm holding a knife, I'm doing like a pinch grip, something like this, and I'm kind of slicing open boxes. Even when I'm doing food prep, yes, mind you, there's a right tool for the right job. I get that, but I like to use my knife, guys, for ridiculous and fun things, right? So even when I do food prep, I'm typically using the pinch grip, right? So I feel like this blade shape really lends itself to the types of EDC tasks that I do. So let's just get into it. There's not gonna be a review. I just got this knife in like 2 days ago, and I have been carrying it. And so just my initial thoughts. I don't know if I'm gonna do a full-on review, but we'll see. So let's just get right into it. First thing if you get a Skiff knife, the first thing you're going to notice immediately is just the milling on their knives are just top notch. I don't know any other company that does the level of just milling work that Skiff does. I would say maybe someone that comes close or maybe equal to would be like Grimsmo. I've had several of their Grimsmo. I have had the Grimsmo Rask and the Norseman, and I'll say, like, in terms of machining quality, I would say they're probably close or on par with Skiff. But something about Skiff, man, it's just their level of like machining is just like, I mean, off the charts, guys. Look at that beautiful, I don't even know what they call this pattern. I think they may call this like sea wave or something like that. I don't know, but it's gorgeous. As you can see, it translates to the pocket clip, so it's like a seamless design. Like, it is just incredible. And then you'll notice there's a pivot collars, and these things are actually like titanium collars that you could just take off. If you unscrew the pivot, you're able to kind of pop those off, and you could change it for other colors or other designs that Skiff makes. But just look at how the design flows even into that pivot collar. It's just so seamless. I mean, just the level of just machining on this guy is just ridiculous. That's why I would say this is like a functional work of art, just because it is the most beautiful knife that I've ever had in my collection. And I've had the Culprit, I have the whole Renegade. I mean, oh my god, I mean, in terms of machining, this thing really takes a cake. Yeah, Oh, and you see the ano on this. I believe this is the rose gold ano, and it's just beautiful. It really is very subtle, and if you kind of in certain angles, it turns from gold to like pinkish, to like it's like a champagne color. It's just absolutely stunning. I mean, like just the level of refinement that this knife is all about. It's just so stunning. And then let's just get right into the blade. As you can see, this is like, I believe there's like a hand rub finish, as you can see right here. There you go. You can see it. Let me wipe off the blade. One thing, just a caveat, guys. This thing is a fingerprint magnet. Oh, excuse me. So if that bugs you, then maybe wear gloves if you're gonna be handling this knife, or just you gotta live with it, because aside from that hand finished satin, you got this very mirror polished flats going on a spine right over here, even up here, and then you have the Skiff name right there, and then of course a flipper tab is like mirror polish as well. And I mean, this thing is a looker. There's just no ways around it. So my advice to you is, if you are the type of knife enthusiast where you don't want to like mess up a knife, or at least the look of it, or you're kind of turned off by scratches and whatnot, then this knife may not be for you, because I could tell right off the bat that it's gonna get scarred up. Okay, I mean, there's just no ways around it. Especially when it's kind of, you have like that mirror polish going on, you're gonna see every little scratch, every little thing happening, right? So that's that. Yeah, this feels very good in the hand. Oh my god, this is like super money right here, guys. Super money. Now, another thing I do want to point out, in the world where we talk about guillotine, drop shut action and whatnot, right? This knife is not that, okay? I'll just tell you that right now. This is not going to be drop shutty. It's going to be more like a controlled hydraulic action. What I've heard people say, and I would agree, is that this is like if Chris Reeves came out with a flipper, it would probably feel very much close to this knife. It's just very hydraulic. It's very smooth. Don't get me wrong. It's just like buttery, glassy smooth. But if you know anything about Chris Reeve knives, right? Chris Reeve knives, they're not going to be drop shutty, guillotine action type stuff, but it is incredibly smooth, especially when it breaks in. And this thing has already been breaking in, and it's just, it is awesome. It's just a little shake and it closes. The detent is just super dialed in. It is definitely on the stronger side for sure. But then you have such a pronounced flipper tab that you're not going to be like slipping off of this mountain of a pocket flip tab. All right, boom, it just rockets out, and this knife is ready to rock and roll. I love like this angle, right? It's kind of canted down a little bit towards the tip, so it really lends itself to my pinch grip kind of cutting style. Yeah, look at that backspacer. Backspacer is also titanium. But yeah. Now, another thing to note is that I guess there was like a different generations of this knife. I don't know if there's like multiple. I think there's at least 2 generations that I know of. The first generation, from what I've seen, does not have the lock bar interface, that steel lock bar interface. The older models, they don't have that screw that, and they don't have that lock bar interface tab right there, right? Aside from that, I don't know of any other major differences, but that's, I think, like their evolution from Gen 1 to Gen 2. There's just not a lot of like literature out there regarding skiff knives, you have videos on YouTube like this one, but aside from like other types of literature out there, not a lot. This doesn't, as far as I know, when you get a knife from Skiff, it's going to come in a pouch. but doesn't even have like a certificate of authenticity or any other stuff that you may get with like a CRK or with Holt Blade Works, right? It's very, very straightforward. I think you get a receipt saying like, you know, what this knife, you know, what the different components of this knife are made of, including the blade steel, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's kind of like paltry in terms of the packaging, but you know, I would say the same, you know, for Strider, right? I think this is probably, you know, this thing comes in a Ziploc bag, you know what I'm saying? So, not gonna complain. As long as it gets to me, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but aside from that, this knife is an absolute beauty. It feels very good in the hand. You know, and you also have like this kind of this forward finger choil type deal going on. And it has more than enough space to actually choke up. It's not like one of those, you know, like fake four finger choil. It's like a legit four finger choil, so I could really choke up on the blade. But yeah, this action on this is just so addictive. You know, so smooth. This is rocking their, you know, Skiff. They're, I think, really known for their bearings. So, you know, they make Skiff bearings for all sorts of knives out there, and their bearings are probably like at the top of the food chain when it comes to bearings, you know, or in terms of what you can buy aftermarket, because I know there's other companies that make their own bearings like Grimsmo. I think that's probably even better, but in terms of just like availability and being able to just purchase like aftermarket bearings, I'll say Skiff is just at the top of the food chain, right? And so they've put in their own bearings in here, and it just makes for a very, very wonderful flipping action knife. You know, blade is absolutely centered. Oh my god, this knife is so good, guys. So good. You know, I did tell myself that since I got this knife in, I'm gonna have to use it, guys. I'm gonna have to use it. All right. I know it's gonna be painful, but you know, this knife was really, you know, it was designed for, you know, as a tool, you know, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, with that being said, you know, I may or may not do a full-on review, but, you know, feel free to drop down any comments or questions down below. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing, then, you know, feel free to subscribe and like this video. With that being said, have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you guys soon.